Okay girls, gather around, gather around. Today we have a very important video. I'm so sure that this video is going to change your life. It's going to change how you look at your menstrual cycle. It's going to change how you look at productivity, period. No pun intended. First off, hey girl, welcome or welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Trinity and I create content that helps you to become your best self, whether it's mentally, physically, or emotionally. So if you like that kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you've ever felt super motivated one week and completely burnt out the next week, I want you to know that you are not lazy or inconsistent, and you're also not alone. You are likely just out of sync with your menstrual cycle. And today I'm going to be breaking down how to sync your productivity and your goals with your cycle so that you can stop fighting your body and start flowing with it. Now let's get into it. I'm so excited to make this video because this information changed my life. If you are not new to my channel, you know that I have been struggling with productivity for a while, and I thought it was just a discipline issue. I thought it was just a procrastination issue. I thought maybe I just don't have passion for certain things anymore, until I realized that I feel the same way at the same time every month. Contrary to popular belief, your menstrual cycle is not just about your period. I'm 29 years old, and for probably 28 years of my life, I thought that girls just came on their period and, you know, experienced PMS sometimes, and that was it. I didn't know there was a whole 28-day cycle with 4 different phases. And I had no idea that these phases would affect how I felt emotionally throughout the month. And I definitely didn't think that my lack of productivity had anything to do with my hormones. Your menstrual cycle is made up of 4 distinct phases, each with unique hormonal changes that affect your energy, your creativity, your focus, and your mood. So let's get into these phases and the differences between the 4. First, we have the menstrual phase. This is the one most of us are familiar with. This is the period. The menstrual phase is about 5 days long, and it's a perfect time to rest and reflect. If an egg is not fertilized, the lining of your uterus then sheds. And we all know what that means. But what happens to your hormones at this time? Estrogen and progesterone drop tremendously. And because of this, your energy is typically at its lowest. And the decline of these hormones is actually what causes the lining of your uterus to shed. This is a good time to journal, reflect on your goals, review your month. I like to think of my period as my personal reset button. So I typically schedule low energy, deep thinking work for this time. And I also give myself permission to rest without guilt. So if I want to just lay on the couch and do nothing, then I do that. I personally don't push myself to power through any high intensity tasks while I'm on my period. And again, I focus on light things like light planning, reviewing my goals, journaling, or just tidying up, like things that don't require a whole lot of energy but still allow me to feel somewhat productive. Next, we have the follicular phase, and this is day 6 through day 14. And we call this the buildup. At this point, your estrogen is rising again, and you'll likely feel a little bit more creative, more energetic, more optimistic. Life starts to feel like it's worth living again. While the menstrual phase is like your inner winter, the follicular phase is more like your personal spring. I typically feel more social around this time. This is the perfect time to brainstorm new ideas, start new projects, take meetings, pitch ideas if you have a 9-to-5, batch new content. You are most open to possibility during the follicular phase. So this is a good time to plan ahead or try new things. This is a time when your brain is primed for creativity and problem solving. Next, we have the ovulatory phase. And this does not last long. We got a small little window for this. This is typically days 14 through 16. And the ovulatory phase is the perfect time to communicate and connect. This is when your estrogen peaks. At this time, you're magnetic, you're sociable, you're articulate. I read something that said that ovulation is your superwoman moment. This is your inner summer. Now, I mentioned that I typically like to batch create during my follicular phase, and I count on that phase as opposed to my ovulation phase because, like I said, the ovulation window is very short. So you really want to try to get as much things as you can done and be most productive during that follicular phase because you have a bigger window. Because you'll feel more confident, verbal, and productive during this time, this is the perfect time to host events or film videos if you want. Network, have hard conversations, or tackle any high impact tasks that you have. And then phase 4, we have the luteal phase. This phase is the worst, and it's pretty long. This is day 18 through day 28. And they call this the wind down, but honestly, I just feel like I'm in the pits of hell during the luteal phase, not gonna lie. During this phase, progesterone rises and prepares your body for either pregnancy or your period. And this can make you feel more inward focused and maybe even more irritable. Some people have decent energy during their luteal phase. I do not, but we'll get to that in a second. But if you do, this is a good time to organize systems, edit content, if you're a content creator, and check things off your to-do list. Lately, I've been trying not to film for YouTube during my luteal phase, because I find that I already have anxiety when it comes to filming content, but during this time I be like in tears, not gonna lie. Like on Monday that just passed, y'all know Monday is my content day. Today is Saturday. I'm filming on a Saturday because I was in my luteal phase on Monday, like in the thick of it, and I was just in my feelings. Like I had so much anxiety around filming. I got to the point where I just started crying. I'm texting my friends like,
I just hate everything.
And again, I always thought I had a productivity issue. I always thought I had a discipline issue, which I did, but that wasn't the main issue because I was experiencing the same feelings at the same time every month. I had a very dramatic decline in productivity, a very dramatic decline in motivation, very dramatic decline in just interest in doing things. And I had so many emotions surrounding everything I had to do. Emotions that I didn't usually have, especially not to that extent. And I recently learned that people who have PMS, PME, PMDD, or ADHD have to move a little differently during their luteal phase because it's a lot harder for them. I want to say us, but I ain't about to diagnose myself. I will be getting checked out soon because something is going on, okay? But I read something the other day that was saying that 9 times out of 10, if your luteal phase is like super duper bad, like to the point where
you're like about to crash out,
you probably have PMDD, PMEE, or ADHD. And this is really the main reason why I wanted to create this video, because I think a lot of women experience certain things, they experience certain emotions, they experience certain patterns, and they think that it's just normal. And what you're experiencing may not be normal. Not every woman has the same experience when it comes to her menstrual cycle. Once I put 2 and 2 together that, okay, at this time of the month, I feel this way, so it probably has something to do with my hormones. I was like, all right, maybe I should try to avoid doing certain things around this time. But I never thought about the fact that there could be something wrong that's making it worse. So if you do have any of the things that I just named, during your luteal phase, you should get extra rest, try to decrease your screen time, do more gentle movement when it comes to fitness, and prioritize more emotional self-care. These are all things that I have personally been implementing during this time, and I find that they really do make a difference. Again, you don't want to fight with your body. You want to flow with your body. There's no point in working against it. My schedule for the longest time has been, okay, I'm going to film on Mondays for YouTube. Well, all of my content really. Until I realized that I probably can't do that every single Monday. Maybe during my follicular phase and my ovulatory phase, I need to film more content, batch create more content. That way, when my luteal phase comes, I can skip that Monday instead of force myself to work against my body when I know that my energy is at an all-time low at this time. So whether you have PME, PMDD, ADHD or not, when you're in your luteal phase, definitely try to make yourself wind down. Don't force yourself to do any high impact tasks. Don't force yourself to be hustling real hard like you would probably during the rest of the month. I want you to think of your cycle as your personal productivity blueprint. Once you understand what your body needs in each phase, you can stop forcing yourself to hustle 24/7 and instead honor your body's natural rhythms. Okay, so now let's get into some practical tips for goal setting throughout your menstrual cycle. Now I'm going to use a content creator example, but you can find a way to apply this to whatever you may have going on. If you are a content creator, one thing I typically do is I batch my content, which means I take days where I film a bunch of content instead of waiting until it's time to post something and creating the content. So like today, for example, I filmed 2 YouTube videos. I'm trying to get in as much short form content as I can because I've realized that my energy was kind of high this weekend. I try to accomplish as much as I can whenever I realize that my energy is high, because once it crashes and I be about to crash out. You can also sync your workouts. Now me, I'm gonna push through my workouts regardless, but if you don't really feel like you can do that and you're into a bunch of different things regarding fitness, maybe you can do yoga during your luteal phase, things that are low impact. And then you could do your HIIT workouts during follicular phase. Maybe during your luteal phase, you can do low intensity, steady state cardio. And then during your follicular phase, you can run, sprint, do whatever you want that requires more energy. Another tip is to use a period tracker. The app that I use is called P Tracker, and it pretty much just tracks like when my period is, when I'm ovulating. It allows me to track how I'm feeling each day. And this is especially good for people who have not really noticed any any patterns in their mood, their hormones, their energy, I mean, you could simply do this in a journal or just in notes on your phone, but being able to see it on a calendar where you can see like, okay, this is the week that I come on my period, this is the week where I'm ovulating, I think it's very helpful to see it that way. Last but not least, you want to give yourself grace, because at the end of the day, as women, our productivity fluctuates. I realized that I was having too many productivity conversations with men, and honestly, men can't really relate to us as women. Yes, they can give some helpful tips for productivity, but their productivity looks a lot different than ours. And we have things that are literally fighting against productivity, things that we cannot control. Our hormones, what our bodies are doing, we can't control those things. So we have to just flow with the natural rhythm of our bodies. A man will say, oh, just do it. A man will say, oh, just fight past the feeling of not wanting to do it. And yes, sometimes you do have to do that, but sometimes you're literally going to drive yourself crazy, forcing yourself to do something that your body is telling you it doesn't want to do. One thing I've really had to accept with this whole concept is the fact that men and women are different. As women, we don't like to hear, oh, y'all are emotional, we're more logical, but honestly, it's the truth. And once you accept that and you lean into that and you work with that instead of against it, you'll feel so much better about life, about yourself, about your productivity. So start giving yourself permission to rest when needed. Give yourself permission to go big when you're full of energy, because ultimately that's how your goals stick, when they're aligned with who you are and where you are at the time. Your cycle is not a setback. It's actually a helpful productivity guide if you learn to work with it and not against it. Let me know in the comments how you're syncing your goals with your body. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with a friend who needs it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.